we as humans are very social creatures. Creatures that often require other people or animals to get our daily fix of serotonin. Even for the introverted folk like myself, human interaction is essential, not just for general happiness, but for developing as an individual. Remember that conversation you had with some Irish farmer about the weather? Sometimes that interaction is the only interaction either you or the farmer would have for the entire day. It makes us feel more connected, even if we're total strangers to each other. However, we often feel more alone when the interaction is in the virtual form, or in the form of letters. It's the reason why, even though we live in the age of information, a period of time where we've been more connected than ever before, we somehow feel more alone than ever. Sitting in front of a screen or receiving letters or messages just doesn't hit the same as having a full-blown conversation in real life. Even though I never actively seek this, but whenever I bump into an old friend or strike up a conversation with a stranger, I just can't help but smile long after the meeting has ended. The conversation feels meaningful. It doesn't just feel like we're passing the time, unlike when we're making conversation in the virtual world. However, it's not always that simple. Sometimes we live extremely remote and we have no one around us for miles. One medium that can substitute this is video games. Games have a fantastic way of pulling our attention and simulating human interaction with the introduction of NPCs or other human players in a multiplayer game. Unless your game is made by Riot Games or Valve. Games that either have an abundance of likable characters or a story that's driven through your interaction with other characters always either make the player feel fantastic or horrible if something ever happened to those characters. It's reasons why games such as Mass Effect, Bioshock, heck, even Call of Duty has characters that make the story so much more enjoyable. Even though these characters are fictional, they make you feel emotions akin to meeting a good friend or someone remarkable that you've never met before. However, let's make a scenario. What if everyone can interact with you, but you can't interact back? How would you say this will make you feel? For me, it caught me that I can't connect to the person properly, and I'd feel utterly helpless and isolated in case something terrible happened to them. This is a horrific scenario that could easily spiral into some sort of mental break, and I'd never want to experience such a thing. Unless there's an indie game that simulates this scenario, a particularly heavy game to cover, and can result in a very uncomfortable feeling of dread, existential crisis, isolation, and just pure helplessness. This game is Presentable Liberty. Presentable Liberty is an indie psychological horror game made by the game developer Robert Vertable Brock, rest in peace King, and was released in 2014. This game was the second game made in a trilogy of games known as the Menagerie series, of which games include Expropriatable Money, where you uncover what is essentially a money printer the ops would die thinking about. Presentable Liberty, where you're in a cell during the pandemic that derives from the first game. And finally, Archive, where you have to sort out an archive. Exciting, am I right? And you have to share your income with other archivists. For this video, I will solely talk about Presentable Liberty, but don't fret. I'd love to do a video on the whole series in the future, so watch out for that. When opening the game up, the most stark aspect of the menu is how dreary and haunting the menu's ambience is. It's akin to being abandoned in a prison or an asylum, with all the weird and strange rattlings that sound either far or close to you. It's like you're alone, but you're not at the same time. The game is also incredibly basic looking, which feeds into the horror aspect in my opinion. It generates such an uncanny feeling into the setting of the game. When I first booted up the game, I got massive Dead Rising vibes, specifically Dead Rising 2, due to the eerily similar starting tune. From the menu alone, in my eyes, this could indicate that mass death is on the horizon. It's too quiet for it to be something like a war or a disaster, but as quiet as a virus. Like the virus from Dead Rising, it's going to be a microorganismic genocide upon the world. But first, I would like to say before we start, I highly recommend playing this game for yourself before watching. I don't know why you'd watch this before playing it, but alas. Enough waffling, let's start the game. The dull grey colour consumes your screen as you spawn against your cell door. The only noise being rampant is the tick-tock of the clock as each second passes by. As you turn, you're met with a barren, depressing room, with only a window and a bed accompanying you. There's the bare essentials, besides maybe a toilet. I guess that's what the windows are for. Let the golden shower commence. Beside the door is a pair of wires sticking out, as if something was ripped out of the wall. We don't know what this entails, but surely it's just some extra decor, right? Shortly after wandering around what little space you have, you receive your first letter. This letter is from our good old pal Salvador. Salvador expresses his sympathies for ending up in a prison as he ventures on another journey. Tally-ho, Salvador, may your journey teach you many a thing. Shortly after, Salvador sends another letter further sympathizing upon our loneliness, and sends us a little spider friend to keep us company. Let's call him Pooh. This little guy will be the only creature we'll see for a very long time, so it's best to get accompanied and acquainted with him. Oh, he's shy. Womp. Shortly after attempting to make your acquaintance with Pooh, a letter comes through the door. This bland and modern letter comes from a rather enigmatic individual called Dr. Money. Huh, what a weird name. The letter describes that you're one of the few chosen inmates for an exclusive program. We must be kind of special then, goddamn. In the next letter, he informs that the country is in the middle of a pandemic and many lives are being destroyed and taken away. However, apparently you, a random prisoner, is one of the few who's healthy and thriving, with 98% of the population being infected, with the remaining 2% are prison inmates like yourself. This places you on some sort of pedestal where only a chosen few know of your health status. This takes a dramatic and scary turn when the topic of prison suicides and depressions runs rampant in the next letter. This gives off a sense that Dr. Money is under a rather unconvincing facade to try and keep the player happy. He then assigns you our third character to our roster, a Happy Buddy, trademarked, who we'll name Mr. Happy for now. In Mr. Happy's first letter, it's obviously played up for some stupid made up quota to whoever the higher ups are. However, with the tone of the game, even if it is totally fake, it's a very welcome and enjoyable change in character. He even gives you party poppers. Well, hey! But wait, there's more. Mr. Happy gifts you a Dr. Money portable entertainment machine, which is basically a Game Boy. But let's be lore accurate here. We're going to call it the PEM. This is essentially a distraction for the player to pass the time when the world is dying of sickness. Kind of sounds kind of familiar, I'm not going to lie. This relates to us in the real world, as some people find solace in living in the virtual world, escaping the harsh reality us humans go through. Either boredom, stress, or mass hysteria, it can be our bulwark and protect us from our problems. Well, protect is a strong word, but alas. Just a quick note, this Snake game absolutely sucks, and I suck at it. Terrible distraction, 0 out of 10. Shortly after becoming a PEM esports recruit, our friend Salvador informs us and mentions he's finally set off to the far east, setting off to a quest of solitude and meditation since he's going to the nearest lake. Salvador paints a pretty image in our mind, that the lake is serene and tranquil with the sound of peace running rampant in the area. But then all of a sudden, he then makes a rather underhanded question. Have you ever been so alone that you cannot convince yourself of the fact that other people exist anymore? This question is interesting to me. During our own pandemic with COVID-19, isolation was ever present, with even the idea of interacting with others causing pandemonium with everyone. The fear of dying and becoming a statistic relegated us as hermits, and over time, the idea of seeing other people would gradually become more mythical in perspective, until lockdown was either lifted or eased. Even to this day, the feeling I felt after meeting with a friend felt surreal. Maybe Salvador is also a hermit, and isn't fond of the idea of meeting new people, or people at all. This would explain why Salvador is off on a quest to the east, to reconnect with nature. Maybe he's just fed up with humanity, or humans in general. But that wouldn't make sense. Why would he still be sending us letters? Maybe he generally does care about us. Maybe he's just trying to get that quota that he gives himself to interact with others. We don't know, but as far as we can tell, Salvador is a genuine person so far. Salvador then bestows a gift of a painting to decorate the room. He says it reminds him of the spirit of travel. So, let me get my big smart pants on. Looking at the painting, The green represents a hill covering the view of the traveller's vision, with the rare colours of purple and indigo representing that beyond all the hills of travel, you can truly find remarkable and serene locations and areas, with the sun representing the light and guidance towards such locations. Truly, in my opinion, a very thought-provoking image. I'm such a coper, goddamn. Shortly after receiving the painting from Salvador, our beloved Mr. Happy sends us a cute little song. This song has dropped the depression rates to 0%, even though it feels really forced. It's quite a funny song, I'm not gonna lie. You're doing your job well, Mr. Happy. He then shares some kind words. With our isolation, even if the kindness feels forced, it's nice to have these sweet gestures shown, attempted to keep this song in our heart. After a few seconds of hardcore gaming, an unexpected letter arrives from Dr. Money. Dr. Money is essentially ordering our Mr. Happy, whose name is now Mr. Smiley, to lower the suicide rates in prison, or he won't be able to see his daughters again. This is a rather jarring letter to see, considering there's no real reason for Dr. Money to talk to us. This letter was clearly a mistake, and highlights some dark possibilities as to what's occurring in the present. Dr. Money isn't what he seems, and like the rat he is, he tries to rectify his mistakes by reassuring that Mr. Smiley is truly our friend. With the aforementioned letter, it's already nigh impossible to trust anything from Dr. Money now. From the rather void-looking style of his letters, with only black and white being used, it's clear he's up to something, or doing rather devious tasks behind closed doors. From the letter 2 interactions ago, Mr. Smiley's next letter is almost maniacal in some attempt to push good vibes. Laughter may be the best medicine, but you can overdose on medicine. This almost looks desperate, but hey, at least he's asking how we're doing. Not like we can respond, but alas. He double downs by referring to us as his bestest, friendliest happy friend in the whole wide world. Pretty dramatic, but if the letter Dr. Money sent is true, anyone would be dramatic and desperate to do anything necessary to save our kids. With the masquerade of Mr. Smiley being over, we're greeted with a rather sweet letter from our good old friend Salvador, hoping our bed is comfortable and wishing us a good night. With the light slowly dwindling as the clock ticks down to the apex of time, the room is met with total darkness, where we can sleep and go to day 2. When waking up, we're met with a rather sweet and whimsical letter from Mr. Smiley, who's hoping we had a lovely sleep. Even though the exclamation marks seem a bit over the top, it's nice to see that someone at least attempts to care about us having a nice sleep. Still, very overdramatic. Ooh, a free game. Never mind. He's now my favourite. I love free things. The new game he gets us is called Fear of Fire, and I'm not gonna lie, this game is infinitely more fun than the Snake game. Snake game too hard for monkey brain. It's worth knowing that the sound of the countdown per level, it has a harsh and harrowing tone to it, like some sort of catastrophic countdown, when, in reality, we just go to the next level. Oh my god, Pooh is now a famous game character. A little while later, our pal Salvador sends us a letter, and we gain some quirky information on him, like how he has a romantic interest in the northern direction. He gives some cool information about a river he passed that changes direction based on yearly time. He then mentions how he must see this river change direction. Salvador has an unheard of appreciation for the wonders of nature. Seeing a river change direction or explore numerous biomes isn't something the average bloke or blokeette sees every day. He then says, in life one must appreciate the little things. He isn't wrong. If we are bogged down, or inspired only by the big things in life, like passing an important test, or losing a loved one, you can't appreciate or experience life to its fullest. The little things add up either positively or negatively, and are what details our day-to-day life, making it unique, like the river that changes direction. Shortly after Salvador's wonderful letter, Mr. Smiley whips out another present to remind you to keep a smile on your face. How adorable. Oh! Let's talk about this painting. The painting may harbour a smile, but the lack of developed teeth, the bloodstain on the corner, and the fact red is the main colour to detail the face, could indicate that Mr. Smiley is in some sort of mental distress. The blood could represent the inmates he failed to keep happy who have succumbed to game ending themselves. The smile has sharp edges where the lips meet, so we can indicate how strong he puts on the happy persona. Maybe he, himself, is undergoing depression as we speak from this. Okay, I'm taking off my smart pants right now. After detailing the painting, we receive a new letter. A new style of letter that we haven't seen before. Judging from the style, this character is either well spoken or has a sense of elegance. Or both. They say that you and them share something in common. They are the only healthy people left in the town. They run a noble occupation of running a pastry shop, giving all those citizens something sweet to go through with life. They allude to the idea that you can come visit them sometime, since everyone else is at risk to interact with the whole pandemic thing going on. Oh geez, silly old me, how could I forget? Her name is Charlotte, or maybe she forgot. I don't know. It's not like her name is literally on the letter. Salvador sends another letter, further detailing how in awe nature changing right in front of him is. He adores what our Earth has to offer. A true naturalist, appreciating the small changes that almost no one would ever see in their lives. It's also something unfortunately our character may never be able to experience again, unless something dramatic happens. After a while, taking her mind off of the virus and their major isolation, we receive another letter from Charlotte, who apologises for coming off as too eager and desperate. This shows how considerate Charlotte is in this world that's decaying and dying. Even with everything happening, she still keeps her moral high. How precious. A while later, we get a rather thoughtful letter from Mr. Smiley checking in on us. However, he mentions that the games are expensive. It seems like a downer to bring cost into this letter, followed by a rather hysterical laughter, followed by an even more extensive and insane block of laughter, with him pleading, "Please don't be sad. Anything for you, Pookie Smiley." He then continues to press us to remain happy, even if we're stuck, alone, with Pooh, games, and nothing more. It's like an order for us to remain happy. Please. In complete desperation that our well-being is kept high. Like he doesn't have the motivation to put thought into it, and he is begging us to be happy. A while later, Dr. Money wears his ugly head into the equation and suggests if Dr. Smiley isn't being appropriate, we can have him replaced. Unless you're Karen, I'm genuinely worried for Mr. Smiley, from the desperate shift of tone in his letters. I don't want him to be replaced, for his own sake, or even his daughter's. We don't even know him, but I refuse to allow Mr. Smiley fall into a void of despair. We are essentially keeping his daughters alive. We are keeping him alive. His hopes, his dreams, his future. We need to remain strong for Mr. Smiley. Even Mr. Smiley, out of fear, brings us up in his next letter, but with his laughter littering the page, he's trying to put on a strong face, although struggling. It's vital that he stays with us. I really don't want anything bad to happen to him. Heck, even his next letter confirms something terrible will happen if he's replaced. It's like a factory to produce artificial smiles, and Mr. Smiley's just another cog in this machine. In another attempt to keep himself relevant in our prison life, he apologized for not getting us another game, and he's basically broke. Don't worry, Mr. Smiley, me too, and don't you worry. Just keep yourself safe, Mr. Smiley, keep yourself safe. I haven't even completed all the current games yet, just don't do anything stupid. Okay, never mind. Mr. Smiley, I completed one of the games. Pick up the pace, goddammit. Oh. Please don't apologize, Mr. Smiley. No, please, I didn't mean it. You're doing a fantastic job, just please don't do anything rash. Ah, Salvador, my best friend. He inquires if our bug is keeping us company. He is, but it just isn't much. Oh, would you look at that? I'm a step ahead. Pooh is doing great. He mentions that our character used to do wood carving in our spare moments together, particularly chess pieces. God, on a side note, I absolutely love chess. To commemorate the good times we and Salvador once shared, he's taken the liberty to make us a table. Right now he's only produced one of the 4 legs, but hey, this spices up the room a lot, even if it's a single leg. We share our loneliness with the table leg, as it's the only leg, and we are the only person in our cell. This is so sad. After a while, with the lights dimming, and as the day comes to a close, Charlotte takes the opportunity to wish us a nice sleep. Charlotte strikes us as a hopeful person, resonating a kindness to our hearts. As the night draws to total darkness, we head to sleep. Trudging out of our dark, desolate bed, we're greeted with a letter from Mr. Smiley, wishing us a good morning. But wait, he has news? As we eagerly wait with the light coming through the window, Mr. Smiley has gifted us a new game. The game is essentially Flappy Bird, but good. And difficult. Shortly after indulging ourselves in some much needed gamer time, Mr. Smiley reassures us not to worry about him. Is he a psychic from yesterday? I bloody will worry about you. You're pouring your funds into some random bloke or blokeette in prison. He then relegates himself back to begging, which is becoming rather unnerving. Literally, for all that is holy, we must stay happy. They're watching. Who's watching? Dr. Money? The government? If it keeps Mr. Smiley out of harm's way, we need to stay strong and happy for him. I can't imagine our Mr. Smiley having something terrible happen to him, even though I don't know him. Later on, Charlotte sends a letter stating that the world has become such a quiet place. One thing worse than isolation from other people is the isolation from everything. With it being too quiet, a sense of unease gets us. The only thing keeping our players sane is the games, the ticking of the clock, and the game's ambience itself, although foreboding and rather creepy. It's something. She then mentions that people are dying on the streets outside of her pastry shop, and mimics our distrust when she doesn't believe Dr. Money's antidote is what it is. It's something different. Charlotte refuses to leave her shop, possibly fear-struck from the death occurring just mere meters away from her shop. The pain of loneliness is ever present, like it is for us. However, she remains vigilant and remains stationed. Shortly after that, we're met with another letter from Salvador, where he mentions he's finished our second leg, progress to our beloved table. He mentions he's homesick, which is ironic, as those at home are sick from the virus that has taken so many people's lives. He may be healthy, but he's still sick, as if the virus's tendrils are far-reaching, either taking people's lives or driving people to places to get sick. The virus, in one way, is acting like nature's puppet master, bringing people to their death, or simply taking lives themselves. After struggling to this goddamn level, God, I suck at this game, Mr. Smiley perks up and mentions that people are upset how difficult the game is. Yeah, no shit! But on a real note, maybe the game being hard can only be a metaphor for life suddenly changing, with a virus that swiftly kills, affecting the players of this world, and the PEM is just Dr. Money's playground. We're all simply little moths, struggling to flutter through the maze of this pandemic. But hey, it's not about those games, it's about happiness. Games do in fact make people happy, for a time, until it consumes them, and all they are those games. Mr. Smiley is right, even if the game of life is hard, it's important to find the small things, as Salvador mentioned before, to give us the opportunity to smile and be happy. But we're in a cell, and this game sucks. Finally, I beat it! Ooh, hello Charlotte. Charlotte sends us a letter of her rummaging through her attic and gifted us one of her old posters. She mentions it's not very cheerful, but hey, a poster is a poster. Let's talk about this poster. In my eyes, Charlotte is more pure than us. She is an accomplished pastry chef in town, the white, while we're a prisoner, the lowest of the low, the black. But even though we're different, we still connect, essentially negating our loneliness no matter how different we are. Maybe the dangling balls represent the scars of loneliness as we find solace in each other. The scars remain, but we have each other. Why do I think this means we're together? It's a heart, okay? Leave me alone. Dr. Money then grows concerned for his cattle as he reassures us that everything is fine, even though the letters we've received indicate the alternative. Why does he care so much about us anyways? We're a prisoner. What profit can we possibly give to him? We aren't the only ones skeptical as well. Our beloved Charlotte shares the same feelings of skepticism, with Dr. Money taking a more dismissive stance that, nah, everything's fine. The antidote is inflated in price and is costing many people their lives due to how outlandish the prices are. It makes it seem like some sort of scheme just to profit off of everyone. What's ironic is doctors are to save lives, but Dr. Money's actions are taking them. Truly the kindest capitalist. However, on the brighter side of things, our good old friend Salvador informs us that our third leg is finished. Huzzah! And he's making haste back to our hometown. Hopefully get to see some familiar faces. Hopefully ours. With the third edition of the table leg, the room's looking much more lively and homey, contrasting to the dull and brutal grey colour scheme of the room from day one. Oh, Charlotte, it's good to see you. Oh. It appears that Dr. Money has botched the antidote, but instead of rectifying this, he's lowering the price. Is this some sick practical joke? Lowering the cost doesn't stop people from dying if the antidote causes total organ failure. It shows that life is insignificant in the grand scheme of making a quick buck. A shocking business tactic. But hey, a quick buck's a quick buck nonetheless. Ugh, finally, this game is making Sekiro look easy. Oh, Charlotte. Oh, her cake has gone stale. Do not take this out of context. She expresses that she wishes for this to end soon, but is eager to meet us. I personally find this weird. As Bar Salvador, no one knows who we are. It's odd that people like Charlotte take interest in us. Maybe we share our loneliness together. Quite literally. We share the fact that we're both healthy. But still, this is very pushy. She then ponders on the fact if we can even still read her letters, especially at a time like this, and questions if we're still alive. Now is the time to explain. At this point, I was starting to feel really helpless with the fact that the character, I, couldn't interact with the people and mail them back. It's like one of our defining traits as a species, known as communication. It felt stolen, or harvested, or subjugated. It was horrible. It was lonely. Even though Salvador is a fictional character, I am so grateful a person like him exists at all in any medium, by real life or fiction. He's putting so much effort into making us a table, making us feel like we're worth something. Hell, he's even finished the fourth leg in this letter. I'd love to thank him for making this table so much, but I can't. We can't. It's hair pulling. I feel chained, not being able to express anything to any of our friends, even if they're fictional or not. It's horrible. But hey, don't worry, Salvador, the master woodworker. Bro's a comedian. Love this guy. It's just a shame we can't thank him ourselves, or respond to him at all. For all he knows, he's talking to a dead man. Ah, Mr. Smiley, I haven't heard from you in a while. Oh. Yes, I'm okay. Not really. He goes on to rant by saying how more inmates are dying and is begging we stay alive, not just for us, but for him. It's clear at this point someone or something is holding him hostage. We need to stay strong for Mr. Smiley, no matter what. But even if we can't stay strong for Mr. Smiley or do anything for him, don't fret. Salvador has our back, wishing us a good night and gifting us the full tabletop for a new piece of furniture. The cell is starting to look a lot like home. Some messed up version of home anyways, with the juxtaposition of the creepy smiling painting and the normal handcrafted table. As the day draws to a close, we make haste to sleep until the next morning. The day is early, and the ambience still runs rampant with a dreary aura. Dare I say, a negative 1000 aura. We awake to a letter from Salvador informing he's coming home. His journey has come to an end, and the homesickness draws him back. Homesickness, unfortunately, won't be the only sickness following you, Sal. Please stay safe. Maybe the journey, he says, has come to an end represents the journey of life, as he returns to a desolate no man's land of a town, running rampant with the smell of death, stealing the smell of home he yearns for. Or, what he returns to is nothing. A terrifying thing to uncover. Nothing. Mr. Smiley then greets us with a chirpy morning. Oh no. Mr. Smiley is losing everything. Not just his house, but himself. He reassures us not to worry. But how can I not when you're mutilating yourself to live? Oh, never mind. He bought us a new game. He bought his Elden Ring. It's Mogan time. On a serious note, this isn't okay. What Mr. Smiley thinks makes us happy is doing the complete opposite. He believes money and material gifts can achieve us being happy, even though he expresses he's losing everything to make it a reality. It's a colour swap of a result. We don't want this. Please be okay, Mr. Smiley. Oh, by the way, when trying to pass the time, the game Mr. Smiley last bought us is actually bugged. We could just jump out the screen. Maybe the broken game represents Mr. Smiley's mental state, his problems spilled in the letters, like how our triangle can yeet itself off the screen. I don't know, let me cope. Thanks to Charlotte, we get an update on the outside world that is completely silent and barren. Mentioning the streets used to be busting with life. A rather tragic turn of events, thanks to this horrible virus. and Dr. Money's shenanigans. She then allures to the suggestion to revive or mimic the sound of life by using her gramophone, music. One of the things that motivates and inspires us to push forward. Hell, I'm listening to music right now writing the script. Music eases the feeling of isolation, as silence is a core component to feeling lonely. It adds a fresh perspective in the form of sound, sharing one other person's mind with yours, putting you to ease. Then, Salvador interrupts inquiring as to why the streets got a fresh new red coat of blood. He's been away for so long, he has no grasp as to what's happening. Even if the isolation and meditation of nature specifically helped him, he became lost, not knowing what's happening, out of the loop. He has no idea what he's returned to. Then the strangest thing happens. Even though we're out of the loop, Dr. Money just straight up admits it. This is incredibly jarring, as Dr. Money has been seen as a mysterious and shadowy figure in this story. He made the virus? Was this some ploy to make more money? Make a market for something that didn't exist prior to the pandemic? As a quote-unquote apology, he gives us a picture of money. He isn't really subtle, is he? Okay, you know the drill. New picture, new explanation. The money on the red backdrop shows that even in times of mass death or change, money simply stays unscathed. The innate human greed of the bad batch of humanity always trumps and rises to either the top or rises above in terms of survival. It's also worth noting that the dollar looks like it has an eye in the middle, as if money gives clairvoyance, power, control, with the quote, "Money survives all hardship," solidifying this. In this world, money truly is everything, and that's sad. It's akin to our world. Salvador then perks up and observes the antidote is also killing people. Something we've been over, Sal. Get with the times. He then questions if he's infected. No! Sal, please stay safe. I can't lose anyone. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose anyone I've talked to. Except for you, Dr. Money. My apologies. I just really like Salvador. So from what I'm seeing, Dr. Money didn't just make a market. He made 2 markets and assembled a monopoly on the organ market. But Sal doesn't trust him. Those organs are not what they seem. Is he alluding to the fact that the organs are either fake or stolen? Why did I celebrate that? Anyways, even if the organs Dr. Money is selling work, as well as the antidote he made, the joke is that they don't work. They die shortly after the transplants. He then begs the question, are we infected? I don't know, probably. Fomites exist and people could be infecting me with their letters. Charlotte sends us a letter to which we're met with... That was a beautiful melody. It's done more for us than Mr. Smiley's artificial happiness. We heard it, Charlotte, and we're eternally grateful for breaking the horrible silence of this nightmare. I feel lonely too, Charlotte. I want to see you. And Sal, I don't know about Mr. Smiley though. Charlotte, please. I beg, the music, the aura, the connection that brought it was beyond a magical moment. I'd listen to that music with you for all eternity, as your presence makes it all the worthwhile. That one moment. It's a beacon of hope. Do not forget that, Charlotte. You made the few still alive happy, even for a second. This separation. You are right. This can't go on forever. I want to see everyone. But please, just stay strong for me. Although the streets are a Splatoon level with all the red, please just think of what can happen if we meet. There are still some of us alive, although probably in the single digits. You are not alone. I hate the fact I can't tell you this. It's hair pulling. Or write this to you. No, I am alive. You are alive. There's still a chance. The lights may be out, but for life, for each other, we're the only lights left. And Salvador. One more day. A lot can happen in a day. I'll find you and ease the lamentable isolation we both feel. I just need to escape. But how? Tomorrow evening. Until then, I will come to you. Please wait for me, Charlotte. I refuse to break a promise. No, please, Charlotte. You're one of the few people with life left. There will always be a place for life in a dead world. Even if you stick out, you matter. I know loneliness is clawing at you, but I will come. Just please stay patient for me. Oh, Charlotte, you shouldn't have. But you're too kind and sweet. Like the cake you just made me. Thank you for putting so much effort into me. Now let's dig in. I'm starving. Shortly after, a bittersweet letter arrives from Sal that he even heard the music. It's gut-punching, since as far as Charlotte is concerned, it's only me and her left. But even Salvador heard, and he's miles away. People are still alive, Charlotte. Sal is, either from his trip to the great outdoors, or worse, the virus, is exhausted, and takes refuge in one of the millions of empty buildings. Don't catch a cold, or a world-ending virus out there, Sal, buddy. Sal promises to come visit us. Wait. Yes, of course! Sal can help us meet Charlotte. He can break us out and we can make our promise come true with her. But first, let us rest, friend. Before we rest, Mr. Smiley checks in on us. Are we happy? Not quite, but the future's looking slightly better. At least for us. It's helping us move forward. Maybe if we meet Charlotte and Sal, will we finally be free? While pondering on the cake, and with Pooh, our trusted bug friend, Mr. Smiley wishes us, sleep. Not even a good sleep. Tomorrow it will all end. What will end, Mr. Smiley? What will happen tomorrow? So this is the day it all ends. Let's see what he means by... Oh, Mr. Smiley's demeanor is completely different now. More like Mr. Grumpy. He isn't our friend. He never was our friend. He was taken hostage. It explained the begging to be happy in the prior days. Dr. Money is the source to this. On top of being a devious businessman, he's a psychopath, using people against each other. He lied to Mr. Smiley to do his bidding. His daughters are dead. They succumbed to the virus, without even seeing their daddy before departing. So in this attempt to make things right, he'll end our acquaintanceship on his own terms. He may not have been our friend, but we have something he doesn't have. Hope. Oh no. No. Please no more games. Please. I don't want to take your money. I don't care if there's a market. Please. Put yourself first. Wait, no. Please, Mr. Smiley. No one else has to die or ruin themselves. I understand there's nothing to live for, but it doesn't have to end this way. Plus, how are you going to use the money from your organs anyways if you're dead? Some sort of inheritance? Everyone's dead. We are one of the few healthy ones left, but hope is hard to hold with people dying in front of me. Ugh, I hate this. I hate not being able to do anything to stop or save people. Screw the game. At least his humor is still a thing, saying the game isn't fun. And boy was he right. This is the first time Mr. Smiley has seemed sincere and caring at all. He may have said we ain't friends, but he's still cheering us on and telling us to be strong and to move forward. Goodbye, Mr. Smiley. I won't forget you. At this point, it feels like we're the mule carrying the burdens of others, as we're the focal point for people staying alive. Sal, Charlotte, we need to remain strong. Oh, piss off, Dr. Money. I'm aware Mr. Smiley isn't talking. He's dead, you dense boy. Yeah, I am loved, not by you or Smiley. Don't give me all these lies and deceit. I'm worth every penny. But why? What gives me value? Why you treat me like a commodity? A slave? Cattle in your little money farm? We're like a person in a straitjacket in this damn prison. Ugh, time to stress eat. Sal! Thank God you're alive. This town is dead. There is no life left in it. Much like the mentality of everyone in this damn game. We're all drained and decaying. I anticipate seeing you, Salvador. All I can do in this cell is rot and play these broken games. I need your help, Sal. Sal mentions he believes he's close and shares our anticipation with being face to face. Yes, Sal. It may not seem like it, but I'm still alive. Sal shares our iron will, with a dire thought that we may have already be dead crossing his mind. He's vigilant and remains hopeful that a little virus wouldn't kill us, even though some doubt appears when he ends it with, will it? Yes, I celebrated that Sal still holds us in his high regard. Allow it. This isn't the most ideal scenario to be trapped in. Oh, thank God I didn't hit the cake. This game has driven me to madness. Pacing around the room instead of playing the games, awaiting for some sort of letter from anyone, anything. This longing wait, hoping that another letter comes soon enough. We can't stay in the cell for much longer. This can't go on forever. Oh God, I didn't pace and stop playing my games just to see you, Dr. Money. To be honest, this letter is hilarious. How dare someone with a free spirit exist? He orders, demands us to stop reaching out to Sal and stop listening to his letters. Fat chance, bucko. I don't care if you're isolating me from the virus. The fact is, this is nigh total isolation. I don't want to be protected. I feel like a valuable item in a safe, deep within this treachered building. He attempts to dehumanize us by simply reminding us we are simply his prisoner. That's all we are to him. Something kept captive for whatever he wants to do with us when the time arises. Sal believes they found our prison, but he's still a while away. He is our messiah, our real protector. It'll take up to 2 hours for him to arrive. This needs to be faster. I can't let Charlotte down. I just can't. Oh, go away, Dr. Money. Maybe you ain't the free one. Since you're so enchanted with money, you simply blind yourself on what's right and what's wrong. Sal will release me from my chains. No, I bloody won't cease. You should cease. Salvador is my friend. Something you can't comprehend, or empathize, or even simulate. Sal is here. I don't know why he's asking where my cell is. I'm the average League of Legends player. I don't even know my own home layout. Just please find a way in, Sal. Please. Okay, judging from this, our cell is extremely high up. Since we heard nothing when he broke in, there's not even stairs. World's most functional, brutalist architectural building. He then points out the possibility I can come to him. How? I'm stuck in this wretched cell. I can't even leave on my own if I want to. However, it starts making more sense within the next letter. Sal mentions this place wasn't originally a prison. It was repurposed. There aren't any cells. This must have been a precaution for Dr. Money for keeping people away from the virus. Maybe, in some sick way, we are an organ stockpile, as our body hasn't touched the virus or the antidote. Probably not. Sal is right. This makes no sense though. It's also arbitrary. Pointless. But this stops today. Sal will foil his potential plan. We will escape and rendezvous again. But first, he decides to sabotage the generator. Please be safe, Sal. That is a lot of electricity. You're not Electro Man. Oh no. Charlotte. I am coming. Yes, I am coming. Just wait a little bit longer. God, I wish I could just tell her that. I will come, please. Just a few more minutes, please. I am lonely too. We can stop this together. No. Why are you sorry? No, Charlotte. Please don't do anything rash. Please, don't do anything. No. 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 Charlotte. No. No, Charlotte. She's gone. I broke my promise I made to her. I broke my promise I made to her. No. Oh, hi, Salvador. You found the generator? Great. At least I have you, Sal. At least I have you, Sal. I'll see you soon, buddy, old pal. I will find you. If I can't find Charlotte anymore, Sal? Why are the lights red? Sal, what have you done? Oh. No. No, 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 no. Not Sal too. Okay. My friend is dead. They all are. My cell door may be open. But what will even accomplish? I don't care what it accomplishes. I need to be free. I need to see my friends and say my goodbyes. I don't care if I'm the loneliest person in the world. I will be free and carry on the memories of my friends until I myself passes away. Just stay in your cell. You have no one left who can fix the generator. Everyone's dead. I don't care about the stupid games. I just want to see my friends. You're still bargaining me even though freedom is right there. The truth may be enticing, but you've lied to Mr. Smiley, to the masses, to everyone. I will open that door. This place, even freedom, looks so liminal. We find a keypad, which I assume goes to the wires next to our door. What do these buttons even do? We were in the elevator the whole time. You gotta be kidding me. Like how the population drop, we descend from what seemed like an eternity, free fall into our freedom, with the sound of the elevator ramping up, speeding up, until we stop. Freedom has never seemed so unnerving. It's just filled with doors and rooms. We make it out. It's pitch black, with only... Oh no. The pastry shop. Charlotte, we were so close, but yet so far. Oh, Charlotte. No. Wow, that was an experience. This game isn't happy, to put it lightly. There's no smiles, even though there's a little character called Mr. Smiley. There's next to no company. The big bad is just the kindest and most caring capitalist. The game is just lonely and forsaken. Our character is just dumped in our chamber to just to rot until Dr. Money deems us as usable. Or worse, if he deems us as not worth keeping around, he may dispose of us. If even one of the characters that were our actual friends, like Charlotte or Salvador, didn't exist or know us, our character would have most likely followed the same fate as the other prisoners who game ended themselves. But wait, there was a counter before leaving the cell. What happens if we heed Dr. Money's deal of learning the truth and stay in our cell? As the timer counts down, we're bedazzled, curious, maybe even a little psychopathic ourselves. Maybe we didn't hold our friends dear and simply desired a way to pass the time. As boredom is a crime, our friends are simply there just to be used. When the timer reaches zero, Dr. Money sends us some final letters and explains everything. What a kind blow for giving us the truth, for our freedom. This is utterly disgusting, and possibly a contender for the embodiment of evil. Dr. Money planned everything almost perfectly. It was a risk to allow someone with loved ones to be the singularity of the organ trade, the prize, the holy grail. We were really nothing more than cattle for Dr. Money. We were foolish. We were alone, and we died alone. Each character had a very distinct writing style and letter design. Each character also shows off their respective personality, mannerisms, and overall hope through the entire course of the game, and I'll go into detail with each character. Salvador is a rather eccentric and flamboyant character. He enjoys the smaller things in life and refuses to focus on the bigger picture, with him admiring the changing river or him making you a table. He even puts a thought in to give you a bug friend in a void of a cell you reside in. He strikes me as an extrovert who has introverted qualities. For example, during 3/4 of the game, he's in solitude with nature, simply meditating and enjoying his own company. He's also very courageous for taking the initiative to release us from our chains, even breaking an entry into the building and sacrificing himself to give us the option of escape. I love how quirky and whimsical he is when he refers to himself as the Master Woodworker. He for sure is cemented as one of my favourite characters in games. Salvador is essentially our deus ex machina for our escape, and through his death will always be known as our dearest friend. Charlotte comes out randomly as our character's love interest. Since we all know from movies and video games, love is one hell of a motivator and driving point. Judging from her style of writing, she's a well-mannered and borderline posh individual. One can imagine that her beautiful letters could hold a scented fragrance of her perfume, or some sort of smelling agent. She, in comparison to Salvador, gives off more introverted qualities. Considering how she doesn't quite know how to approach us, she springs out randomly, but then apologizes for doing so, showing she may be a chronic overthinker. Bro, you're not the thinker, what are you doing? She's exceptionally thoughtful, like Salvador in a way, and alongside our pal Sal, that rhymed, she's the only other friend our protagonist has. She finds refuge in bacon and even shares her passion with you by sending a cake, turning us into the ferocious muncher. Her story is horrific. She truly feels like a lost soul banished and tasked to roam the planet without us, or anyone. When she says the only lights that are functioning are our cell windows, one could argue that this symbolizes that we are Charlotte's light and the end of the tunnel. We are a beacon of hope for her. We are her end goal, potentially. But that's just my interpretation of this. We are one of the few things making her cling on to life, at least mentally. I know that her approach and love feels somewhat forced, but during the pandemic, we, as social creatures, yearn for each other's company, and since she's essentially trapped in her building, it unfortunately makes sense as to why she had such an early departure. Our character may never have met her, but she gave us a warm and comfort in our hearts, for sharing the drink of loneliness and isolation with us. Mr. Smiley is someone I'd say is the most mysterious, since for the vast majority of the game, he was under a facade in order to keep us happy, even though he did let his shame, rage, and desperation seep through the cracks. He's an exceptionally tragic character, who, like us, were trapped in Dr. Money's gruesome theatre. He, alongside our character, and Charlotte, suffer from the same loneliness. However, his situation is darker and more harrowing compared to us and Charlotte. When he breaks the facade, his writing style is almost as cursive as Charlotte's, which means he was, as far as we could see it, a rather decent and well-established person before the pandemic. He sacrificed his final days for his daughters, and unwillingly, to us. Although he mentions he was never a friend, I have my suspicions he did become attached, since he gave his life for some game to give us hope. He even goes on a monologue that we must remain strong and keep going. Mr. Smile was an altruist, even if he did lash out on us. You may have skipped drama class or acting school, but your letters are still keeping us going, Mr. Smiley. It's clear what Dr. Money is to all of us, a diabolical apex of capitalism. Dr. Money forgoes all humanity to make a quick buck, or quick billion, considering how expensive it is to purchase his antidote or organs. He uses any means necessary to get what he wants, even if it isn't clear what he wants. He's responsible for this viral genocide of the human race. Unbeknownst to us for the majority of the game, unless you get the dire ending, he keeps us in our cell for an emergency stockpile for his organ trade, in case he gets the virus himself, or even worse, to simply profit off of us, as we're worth millions in the coming days. His moral compass is that of a compass on the surface of the sun. Where is the compass? It's gone, vaporized. When he detects any threat to his scheme, like Salvador breaking us out, he orders us to cease all contact with our beloved Salvador. He tries to dehuman us by simply chalking us up as a prisoner to our faces. And when the opportunity of escape arises, he tries to bargain with us to stay in our cell. He uses your isolation to his advantage, and he hopes that in that isolation, your friend's dying, and dangling the truth in front of you before you're given the opportunity to leave. It is enough to brainwash or trick you into staying. Of course, if he fell for his tricks. We know he was the puppet master all along. We were his gold bar locked deep inside a safe of a building. We were his holy grail. We were the holy grail for a villain. As the game goes on, all rights and ability to interact with the outside world is stripped away. We virtually have no real interaction with no one for the entire game, in terms of meeting them on our own initiative. It's always us receiving, but not us giving. This gives us such a cloud of helplessness throughout the entire game. We can't express our gratitudes, we can't reply to anyone, we can't stop anyone from doing anything stupid. It's almost like we're just people's personal diaries, never able to express ourselves to others. The only way we can even come close to this is to honour our friends' sacrifice by escaping. And even then, it doesn't fix the feelings. Everyone is dead. It's gut-wrenching. We are as much as a victim in this grand scheme of things as our friends. This is echoed when people speculate that we're either dead or they don't matter to us. This is a purgatory that we are unfortunately lost in. It's unjust. It's unfair. Even Dr. Money says himself, you're aware of your innocence. Nothing is our fault. But we can't do anything to save anyone. We don't deserve to be here. We're simply there at the wrong place at the wrong time. We're an unfortunate bystander to the discord that unfolds. We are useless in this story, and that's scary to think of. Besides the ambience and the part where Charlotte creates a mini concert for us outside our window, there is no noise. It's too quiet, only a few decibels, and a few hours till our character can hear their own goldmine of organs function. It's a relatively known fact that isolation can completely desensitize and downcast a person over time. Even if there are alternatives to alleviate boredom, like the PEM, it's nothing more than a supplement. It is a get-rich-quick-ass pseudo-solution to an enormous issue. No amount of games in the world can substitute the real world, unless it's an esports game. God, I can't believe I used to play League competitively. However, to some who are very out of touch, like Dr. Money, it looks like a very easy and alluring cure or solution to the problem, when that's simply not the case. Games aren't a substitute. It doesn't cure loneliness. It only prolongs it. Presentable Liberty isn't just a game, it's an experience. The game throws us into an extremely uncomfortable situation and makes us become attached and to care about characters we never see at all during the entire course of the game. It tugs at the heartstrings and puts an immeasurable sense of tension in the air, not knowing what's happening outside your cell or what's happening to your friends, and most importantly, what's going to happen next. Unlike most other games, there is no happy ending. There's no secret ending where everyone is okay and the world is all merry. The game does a daring task to make you feel totally detached and outlying to the rest of the world, even to your best friends. Most of us can sympathize, as we've experienced this during our own pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, where we never interacted with anyone face to face for the guts of a year. It makes the game hit harder. We relate, we empathize, and for some, this has literally been us. This tragic story, we have lost many people. But for us, we have to remain strong and carry the memories for those who are long since gone. Hey everyone, I'm really sorry for the delay on this video. I've just been really busy with college and life stuff in general. But I'm really glad at how the video turned out. compared to my last two videos. I think I did a much better job. If I did a good job, make sure to let me know in the comments. If you have any advice for how I could, you know, basically make the videos better, please do not hesitate to give me criticism in the comments below. But yeah, this is just a little message at the end. Thank you so much for coming, guys, and if you got to the end of this video, I really appreciate you. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to have a fantastic day and stay safe out there. It's a dangerous world out there.